Hey y'all, I thought I would hop on here and give a life update. So much stuff has been going on that I thought it would just be easier to kind of pluck it all right here in this video because it's been a lot. So back in December, my mom was diagnosed with cancer. And even now that's really hard to say because, you know, cancer is like this big scary thing and you just never want it or never expect it to hit your family. And when it does, like no matter what stage it is just like this scary thing and you get all the feels with it. I can't put it into words, but I hope that y'all kind of understand what it is I'm trying to say. When I found out, my cousin called and told me, I went home. And it's hard sharing this because like I'm really uncomfortable and it's making me kind of anxious because if y'all know me, you know that like even though I show up in this space, I'm very much so a private person. Even more so than that, you know, I choose to be here, so I'm very protective over my loved ones' privacy, and that's both my family and my friends. The reason I even kind of pushed myself to share this part of what's going on is because back when I was home in December, my mom was just like, you know, are you going to share this on Instagram? Are you going to share this on your social media? And that kind of struck me because she's one of those people who I don't post my mother a lot. So when she said that to me, it struck me as odd because it's like, girl, I don't, you know, really be sharing. And she was like, well, I would like you to. And, you know, when I move into my new place, I want you to decorate it like you decorated your house because I would really like for my house to be, or my apartment, my new apartment, to be featured like in a magazine like yours was. And I said, okay, girl, I'm picking up what you're putting down. So the reason I'm even here sharing that part is because, you know, or this part is because my mom gave me her blessing. Other than that, child, I would have never even thought to share this here. So when I went home in December, you know, it's like your life, your loved ones' lives, whoever are the people that are there with the loved one who has cancer, like y'all's lives immediately change. So in December, we found out what stage her cancer was. We met with like all the doctors. We walked the floor where she'll be getting her treatments. Met the staff there, kind of got like the rundown of everything that will be happening. And my mom, I feel like I'm gonna be rambling and be like all over the place with this because it's just like a lot. It's not even just like the treatments that's just like, okay, you're getting the treatment, you'll be healthy, you'll be fine, it'll be great. Like once you get that, we move on. Like, no, that's not how it works. You know, there are side effects that come with the treatments, with the medication that your loved one may be on. And that just brings on a whole list of separate things that you have to deal with or manage. So when I was home in December, it was really hard. I was there for a month because, you know, with all the medications and the treatments, you know, there were a lot of emergency room visits because of the side effects of some of the medications. So for myself, I am very like, I function well in environments where like I have a schedule and a routine. So even in this kind of like uncertain period of time, you still try to hold on to some of that. So, you know, there were a lot of emergency room visits. So you develop your emergency room routine. There were times where my mom had to be admitted So then you develop your routine for once your loved one is admitted and into the hospital. And then, you know, when they're admitted, they'll stay for however long they need to stay. Because my mom lives in a 1-bedroom apartment, I was kind of splitting my time between my mother's home and my best friend's mom's house, because she does have a guest bedroom and just has like the space to have a guest for like a prolonged period of time where you feel comfortable. So I would spend some nights at my mom's house, and that was really hard because you're like sleeping on an air mattress in the living room. And I'm not saying these things to like go, woe is me. I really just want to give the real about what's been happening. So then when physical therapists come, when occupational therapists come, the health aide nurse, or I know I'm saying that wrong, but when they come, you're like either sleeping in the middle of the living room on this air mattress or you're letting it out so, you know, they can come do what it is they need to do. You're not getting good sleep. That's my point. And even when I'm sleeping at my best friend's mom's house, I'm one who always used to sleep with my ringer on silent. That's like not even an option anymore. Because then, because of the emergency room visits, you're getting a call at whatever time you're getting the call, sometimes 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, and it's like, okay, I'm on my way to the hospital. So that was challenging. And I think what a lot of people don't stop to think about, is when you have people around you who are like going through these things, no matter what the health thing is, it doesn't even just have to be cancer. It's like this big thing that's happening in your family members or friends' lives that kind of stop it. I don't know if stop is a good word, but your life is impacted in a way in which a lot of people on the outside are saying like, we're praying for you, we're here for you, let us know if you need anything, but you're like in it. So while you're in it and you're dealing with like all the newness, and the newness happens fast, baby, you gotta. And luckily my sister lives in the Dallas area, so she was taking care, like she was on it, taking care of like the medical stuff, like boom, 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 like just setting it up. But you have to jump in, and this is your new normal on top of all the other things. So like I said, I was there for a month, so figuring out how to adjust or balance and figure out, you live in New Jersey, what happens to business, what happened, like, because all of those things are still going. Like, you still have obligations, you still have contracts to fulfill, you still need, that's what's unfortunate, is like you still have to bring in money, because like your mortgage people, your like, they not gonna be like, oh, we're so sorry, okay, we're gonna give you 3, like they're not gonna do that. Oh, it's just so much, I don't even know where to go from here. I'm grateful because I have an amazing Honey Bunches who just, as soon as we found out, it was just like, you know, we're in it, we're doing it, like whatever it takes. And it's hard also though, because, you know, I left, went to Texas, he was here. The plan was for him to come for at least a month, I mean, at least a week over Christmas to be there. And he ended up coming. I was like so excited to see him and pick him up from the airport. And then of course, as luck would have it, there ended up being problems back here in Jersey at the house. And we had tenants at the time where the heat went out. It was like over Christmas. So they were like just amazing about it, which I appreciated because it's December in New Jersey, y'all, it's cold. But that meant Honey Bunches had to come back early. He ended up being in Texas for like 3 days, and he was supposed to stay for a week. So that was really hard because, like, yeah, sure, you're around your family, but like your person is your person. And so it was just like really hard to like see him leave. But that's what I mean about like life doesn't stop just because you're going through this thing. You still have to take care of stuff. So he was like, he would come back, but at that point it didn't make any sense because The ticket was already outrageously expensive. So it just like didn't, the math wasn't mathing. So that was rough. That was hard. And the other thing that was really hard about that was because we had already been having like a really challenging year. We actually came into 2024, ending 2023 with it being really rough, because we ended up with a tenant that moved in October of 2023 who just ended up being a nightmare tenant. I would not wish him on my worst enemy. And we had to deal with that. And that went on from October until March. This individual now, like looking back, hindsight, is the type of person who you could tell he just tries to take advantage. Like that's just his MO. Because he falsely reported us to the city. He tried to sue us in small claims court. He stopped paying rent, so we had to get him on up out of here. But that stuff takes time. So from November, he became a problem in November. Actually before November, but he just stopped paying rent. Excuse me, he paid to move in, he paid November, he was a problem end of October, November, December came, he stopped paying rent. So you have to go through the process. Like you have to abide by the law and go through that process. So we were victorious in that, but you still have to go through that, which I get so much, not to like sound like a drama queen, but I get so much like PTSD from even thinking about that story. I don't know if I will ever share it, but we were victorious in it. And part of that was because I feel like, not the victorious part, but I feel like he thought we were young, he could take advantage of us, not realizing Honey Bunches is a whole lawyer, and also his family owns a home inspection business, so he literally does this for a living. Like he is the person who you call when you buy a property that comes out and tells you what's wrong with it. So he definitely picked the wrong people when it came to that. And he didn't find out Honey Bunches was a lawyer until court. But anywho, so we were dealing with that. That was in March. We got him out in March. All is well. You know, we could breathe. We thought, you know, we're moving on. And then April came and my dog Mercedes got sick and she ended up passing. And that just, if you've ever had a pet, was hard. People don't talk enough about how hard it is to grieve a pet. And being a Black person, like a lot of us didn't grow up with pets. So she was like the first pet I had to mourn, and I'm like in my 30s. That was a wild experience. So then you think, okay, you're past that, we're good on that. We're gonna deal with the grief from that, but okay, like brighter things are on the horizon. My mom ended up coming after that happened, and she stayed for a month, which I really appreciated. And it worked out perfectly because we didn't have tenants at the time. So she kind of had like, I'm downstairs in our rental unit. So she kind of had this whole unit to herself. It was beautiful. She was like down here cooking, doing all the things. It was amazing. I got to spend Mother's Day with her for the first time in a really long time, which we hosted at our house. It was our very first time ever hosting Mother's Day. So that was really cool. And 2 days before it was time for her to go, we ended up getting in a car accident. Now, thank God my mom was not in the car. It was Honey Bunches and I. We were rear-ended sitting at a red light on our way back home. And we're pretty sure the person had been drinking and driving. But then it's like, okay, this is something else that you have to deal with. My car ended up being totaled. That's how hard we were hit. And then you go get checked and all the things, and then you start, treatment. So you're going to the chiropractor, and we're going to do that. It's already a lot going on, but then now you're figuring out how to squeeze in the 3 times per week you have to go to the chiropractor, and fighting with the insurance company to like get paid for my car, and they're doing what they do best. And it's not like an overnight process. So the car accident happened in May. We're still dealing with that right now. By September, October, the insurance company was like starting to deny claims and all kinds of craziness, as you can imagine. So we're still dealing with all of that right now. So we're just like, you know what? You have to start looking at this like God's not doing it to you, he's doing it for you. And it's so easy when you're like having a lot of good things going on to be like, thank you, God, thank you. You're like, thank you. And then when you're going through these really hard times, to be like, why? And you still, in the midst of the storm, have to just fill yourself with like positivity. Because even with that situation that happened with the tenant, we, you know, realized there was a blessing in that too. You know, Honey Bunches, well, I'm not gonna share his business because I didn't ask before coming to do this video, but I'll say there was a blessing in that too. And I think that when that happened and then everything else started happening the rest of 2024, we sat down and held really hard conversations about, okay, like what could be the blessing in this? What is God trying to show us? The other part that was really hard was there were like some really beautiful moments and things that we were like planning last year that kind of got like snatched up or kind of delayed and all the stuff that was going on. And you know, you sit down and you talk about those things too. The main thing I feel like that came, because I'll speak for myself, that came from the thing that happened with the tenant is you realize like pick your battles. You know, you don't want to like fall apart when you're in a battle like that, because when you do, it would have been so easy for us to like unravel during that time, and then, you know, he probably would have ended up being victorious. So you just realize like fight your battles wisely. All the stuff that you normally nitpick about, it's like, girl, don't nobody care about none of that stuff. We got some other things we need to take care of. So anyways, all of that happened, and that gets us to like September, October. So Reggie's family, like every year, does like a family trip. So the family trip this year was a cruise. So we were like, we're gonna go on that cruise. Like, how exciting. It'll give us a way to like just reset, recharge, all the things. And we had an amazing time. And then it's like you get off the cruise and then life immediately just like snatches you on back to reality, because, you know, I don't know if it was like a week after that. It probably wasn't even a week, because we went a few days ahead of the cruise and we stayed a few days after. So I don't even think it was a week after the cruise. I get home and I get a phone call from, you know, some of my family about some stuff that's going on. And that was like a blow, right? So you're like trying to wrap your mind around that. And then some other things happen. And then the blow from that. And then I get the news about my mom. And what's so wild about life and like making plans for life is, y'all know how that saying goes, God say make a plan. Because I was gonna do one of these like life update videos because we had very exciting news to share, but we were waiting for everything to be finalized to share it. Honey Bunches had accepted a temporary engineering position because his background is law and engineering, and his family owns a home inspection company, so he kind of just like, you know, bounces in between there. So he had accepted an engineering position that was temporary, and we were going to be going to Florida for the job. And we were super excited about that because we just felt like we needed to get out of New Jersey for a while. It would be nice to be, what do they call it, like snowbirds, and just like, we were already in like a rough place just in life. So we just thought, how cool would it be to like not go through the miserable winter and just like go to Florida for a while. Never thought I'd be saying Florida would be a happy place, but here we are. So we were waiting for all of that to be final to make that announcement, and it was looking like, you know, we were like, okay, after, you know, was it after Thanksgiving? It was like right after Thanksgiving, I think he got like the green light and everything for like a start date. And if it wasn't, then it was like the beginning of December. So I was like gearing up to make one of these like life update videos about us moving down there. And then we found out about my mom. So he ended up contacting him back and, you know, saying he was sorry he couldn't accept the position because it was just like, we didn't know. Like the plan was to go to Florida down there together. So he declined it. One, because like I said, the plan was to go together. Two, because he just wanted to like be there in whatever capacity he would need to be there for me. So yeah. So all of that happened. And my mind is like all over the place. I'm sorry guys. I'm just trying to like remember everything so I can like share that. I'm also trying to, when you see me like pause and take the stops, it's also like me trying to be respectful of, one, like I said, I'm gonna share my stuff and stuff that I have permission to share. So like those pauses are me going, oh, like you didn't get permission to say what was at the front of your mind to say. So we're not gonna share certain things because I'm gonna be very respectful of other people's like privacy. So it's me kind of like shifting gears in my brain because it's just like, oh, yeah, no one gave you permission to share that. That's not something that's shared publicly, so mind your business type stuff. But so that's why you see me taking like these long pauses. And plus it's just like a lot going through my mind. December was challenging. And I came back home in January because I was just like, I wanted to be here to celebrate Honey Bunch's birthday. And one of the days I just like called some friends here because when you're going through stuff, it's so easy to just be like, we'll celebrate later, not right now. But we're one of those households where we celebrate everything. So it was just like super important for us, for me, to just make sure that like, baby, we gonna celebrate your birthday. So I called some friends because I finally was like, I need help. And it was, you know, at the hospital, and I like called them and I was like, look, I need y'all's help. I need y'all to plan something for Honey Bunch's birthday. I don't care. Just please help me. And they said no problem, and they did. You know, they were like, we gonna do this. Is that okay? I was like, cool. We can do this? Cool. And it ended up just being a beautiful like birthday celebration with like close friends. And I loved that we got to do that. So I was home for a month, January until February. I was home for like a month and a few days. And then I ended up going back to Texas from February until March. And that was a lot. You know, it was, my mom had to be out of her old apartment, still hadn't found a new place to live. So when I went down there, it was just like, baby, it's go time. So I went out and toured like 15 apartments. I brought her to the ones that were like a top contender, and she chose off of that. And I know a lot of people have asked me like, why didn't I use a realtor for this? I've used a realtor before and I didn't have a good experience. And for my like East Coast people, I'm like, and my Texas people, I'm about to bridge the gap for y'all. So in New York and New Jersey, well in New York specifically, I think in New Jersey too, when you go out with a realtor, you pay a broker fee. The tenant, or you as the person who's looking for the place to live, you pay a broker's fee. In Texas, when you go out with a realtor, the apartments will pay the realtor for bringing you to the apartment. So a lot of people did ask me, why didn't you use a realtor? But we had a list of things that were like non-negotiable that were needed. And you know, it's business, baby. Like a realtor gonna be like, okay, girl, I found these apartments. Here's the things that's on your list. Like, not saying all of them are like that, but based on my previous experience, that was how it was when I kind of had a list of things when I was living in Austin. And I just was like, there's no one better suited to find what it is my mother needs but me. So I'm gonna do this. And we ended up checking all the things off her list because it was a mighty list. And I'm glad that I did it that way. If I had to do it all over again, I would do it that way. I learned a lot in the process. I plan on like making content that I hope is like super helpful for like the next person, just regarding the whole apartment shopping process, different things that are out there. I learned a lot because it's been a really long time since I've rented an apartment, specifically in Texas. The last time I rented an apartment in Texas was 2013, so it's been a decade ago. So I learned a lot. We got my mother's apartment all situated and squared away, packed up her apartment, movers moved it. Honey Bunches ended up coming in town, and he stayed for a little over 2 weeks, which I appreciated because he came. I was like, I really need you to like come once my mom moves into the new place, because I knew I wouldn't be able to do all of that by myself. And he came and we got her apartment unpacked, got everything ordered for her apartment, got most of it set up. It's like 80% of the way there. And yeah, went like, that included like shopping for things. So like a new mattress, going out to the mattress stores, and new couch, going out shopping for all of that kind of stuff, and just getting everything set up, taking care of like registration on car. It was just like a lot of things that needed to be taken care of, but we were able to get it all done. The other thing I didn't mention was, when I was home back in December, my mom has 2 vehicles. I was driving the older of the 2 vehicles. It ended up just like breaking down on me in a parking lot. And I'll share, you know what, I'm gonna share that in a different video too, because it's kind of a long story. But yeah, so we finally got all of that fixed, registration done, and then that same car was parked in my mom's old apartment complex, and we had a really bad like windstorm happen in Texas, and then like a tree branch fell on the car and broke the window shield. So we got all of that fixed. It was just like a lot, y'all. And then with that, you're still dealing with, that's the thing, it's like, okay, let's get back to the reason for the season. You're still doing the treatments, physical therapy still coming, occupational therapy still coming, she's still going to like whatever appointments it is she needs to go to. And it kind of just became, my sister was taking care of like the medical stuff, so like getting her to her appointments, making sure the medical bills were paid, all of those kind of things, like all the medical related things my sister was taking care of. And then like all the admin type stuff, so like moving, unpacking, ordering groceries, all of that kind of stuff is the stuff that like I was taking care of. And it was just like, that's how we decided to divide and conquer, because even with me being here now, all of those things are things I can take care of here. So like making sure all of her bills are paid, making sure, you know, just like all like groceries are delivered to the house, and all of that kind of stuff I can still do when I'm back in Jersey. So that's good. But it's been challenging and it's super hard, and life doesn't stop because you're going through this. And, you know, business related wise, when I was there in December, I didn't really get an opportunity to work, and that was hard from the standpoint of the holidays is like a really good time for content creators to make money, and that was not the focus when I was home. So when I went back in February, I said, I gotta, you know, work. And I was able to. It was challenging and it was hard because, you know, you think your day is done. Like you do all the things that you need to do, all the running around you need to do, take care of everything, and it's like midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning, and you're getting ready to lay down and go to sleep, and it's like, oh, I still have to call Honey Bunches because I told him I would call him back, or I haven't talked to him in like a day, so let me call him or FaceTime him, and it's literally me being on the phone for like 5 or 10 minutes and then just falling asleep on the phone. Or you're like, okay, you're done with that part of your day, and then it's 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, and it's like, but I said when I came this time, I was going to work. So then you're up till 5 o'clock doing all your work stuff, and then you go to sleep and you're back up by like 10 o'clock to then take care of all this other stuff. So it has been a lot to manage. It has been extremely difficult, especially going back and forth between Texas and Jersey. And I know a lot of people are just like, why don't you move to Texas? And that's just like, not really an option, but there are like other things that it's not an option right now. And we'll just leave it at that. But the plan is to go like every 3 to 4 weeks. So to go back and to be there and to take care of stuff. And then Honey Bunches will come for as long as he can come when I'm there. And I think that's everything. You know, I had to be real with what's going on and just be like, you're in this season right now, because people have reached out like wanting to work with me, and I'm just like, I know I can't give certain things the space, or I can't even think of my words right now, but I can't give it the attention that it needs. So just like turning down clients, being like, I'm not in a space to take you on, that has also been challenging, because I work for myself. You make money when you work. Like, it's not like, and that's also a blessing that I work for myself, because then it gives me the freedom to be able to like go and travel the back and forth the way that I've been doing. I don't think that I forgot anything. I think that sums up what's been going on in our lives for the past year and few months. If you have any questions, please feel free to drop them down in the comments. Now, I will say boundaries, because baby, we're gonna establish them right now. There are certain things that I will not talk about. So if you ask them down in the comments, I see them. Baby, I read the comments. So if there's no response to it, that is very intentional. If my response is, you know, we're not sharing that, we're not sharing that. And not respecting that will be a really good way to get yourself blocked. When I say that I respect my friends and my family's privacy, I really do. So if I don't have permission to share certain things, and you know, some of my friends and family, a lot of my family follow me here, and y'all found out some stuff and they're like, how dare you not? Baby, I didn't get permission to share it. I don't know where you found it out from, but good on you for finding it out. I don't know. So, and that goes for my family and for Honey Bunches family too. But yeah, so we're gonna be respectful. We're gonna keep it cute, but drop your questions in the comments, because I will be making more videos that I do feel like are helpful, sharing more of the journey, as long as my mom is okay with it. And if there's a point where she says she's not okay with it, then this will end abruptly and it just won't be any more videos like this. But I don't think that'll be the case. But yeah, thank you for like watching to this far if you have. And yeah, all I ask for is just some prayer warriors. If you want to be a prayer warrior, go ahead, send some prayers up. Pray for us in general. Just like pray for good health, pray for good mind, just pray for us anyways. And yeah, I'll make more videos like this providing life updates, but that's all I have for y'all for now. All right, bye.